Hey guys, welcome to Wrestling Days and welcome to these WrestleMania 40 predictions. We've got so much to go through. Let's get straight into it. We're going to start with where this is taking place. It's taking place at Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia. It's a big stadium. There's going to be over 60,000 in attendance. The stage, we're starting to see it getting constructed. If you've been watching the daily unseen videos, you'll see that we've been following the progress of that. But I have heard an interesting rumor. That rumor is that apparently the design for the stage was only finalized about a month ago, and apparently the budget was also cut. We know that TKO are in charge now of WWE, and it looks like the budget might have been cut. So it's a big stage. It's not a very exciting stage by the looks of it. Certainly nowhere near as adventurous as what we had last year. That might just explain why, if the budget had been cut and the plans were only finalized about a month ago. So that might explain why we're ending up with a fairly basic stage. But what I would say is this is not about stages, right? Go back to the early WrestleManias, we didn't even have a stage. It's not about stages. It's about the emotion. It's about the storytelling. It's about what's going to happen in that ring. So with that being said, let's get straight into it. We're going to start with the night one main event, right? We're not messing around. We're getting straight into the deep stuff, right? So this is Roman Reigns and The Rock in a tag match taking on Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins. Now, if Roman and Rock win night two's main event, that will be Bloodline rules, right? If Seth and Cody win night two main events, it'll be Bloodline are banned from ringside. Now, the night two main event, in case you don't know, is Cody Rhodes taking on Roman Reigns. They're competing for the top title in WWE, the WWE Undisputed Universal Heavyweight Championship, right? It's the top title, and Cody has never won it, and he wants to win it for his dad, Dusty Rhodes. Dusty Rhodes is no longer with us. Dusty got to hold the belt, but he never actually won the belt, and Cody wants to win it so that he can kind of finish his story, right? So a lot of emotion. So this is our main event of night one. It's going to determine how difficult it's going to be for Cody to finish his story on night two. So with that being said, I don't think it's going to be any surprise that I'm expecting Bloodline to win this. I think Rock and Roman win. I think that's going to make night two more difficult. We know that means that Bloodline can get involved. They can do whatever they want, whenever they want, right? And that is going to make it a lot harder. Makes a lot more sense to make night two harder than it does making night two easier. So I'm not really expecting much here, other than a banging match, right? That's going to be loud. The fans are going to make their voices heard. But at the end of the evening, I expect night two to be a lot harder for Cody Rhodes. Which brings us to the main event of night two. I told you, we're not messing around, right? The main event of night two, Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes. Cody finishes the story, right? I don't have many doubts on this. What I will say, though, is I didn't have many doubts last year, and that didn't go very well, right? Because obviously this was the same main event we had last year, only last year Roman retained. This year, I think Cody wins. I think the story gets finished. There's a lot to talk about with this, though, because we know Bloodline can interfere. So that means The Rock is going to be at ringside. Solo is going to be at ringside. Jimmy Uso is going to be at ringside. The big question here is, will we see Dustin Rhodes? I think we will see him even if it's just him in the crowd cheering Cody on. I don't know that we're going to see him coming down the ramp and actually physically getting involved, but no one can stop him being at ringside. We know that Cody's mom, Mama Rhodes, she's going to be at ringside, so I can't see why Dustin won't be there. And Dustin, the sister, the family, I don't know why we wouldn't do that. So I think we see him, but I don't know that he physically gets involved. But his mere presence, that'll be enough, I think. I hope that'll be enough. In regards to who's going to deal with The Rock, who's going to deal with Solo, who's going to deal with Jimmy, well, the names that would come to mind would be Jey. It would be Seth, but I don't think he does, right? Or if he does, he is the one that I think will turn. But I've actually got another thought on that, and we'll come to that in a second. I do think Stone Cold. I think if anyone needs to deal with The Rock, I feel like Stone Cold coming down, and that moment of him coming down and dealing with The Rock and throwing in some shots, helping Cody even up the numbers. I mean, that will just be iconic. And with Solo, I mean, I feel like Randy Orton has always been a great mentor and friend to Cody. They've obviously got a lot of history, what with legacy. I feel like him coming down to help his friends, dealing with Solo, those would be the names that are floating around my head. In regards to Seth, as we said, I think Seth is the one that I'm keeping an eye on because he has teased turning, right? There's been a few little looks and whatever. And so I think he could lose his title. I think that there's a chance he could be injured in that match. There's a chance that because he's injured, we don't see him, or he tries to come down and is very easily dealt with, or he tries to come down and ends up turning on Cody because Seth could be so angry that he got distracted and now he doesn't have a championship, that he takes it out on Cody Rhodes, right? I still don't think that'll be enough to stop Cody finishing his story, but Seth is the one I'm looking at. I don't think The Rock turns. I think The Rock is about family. I think he's going to be loyal. And I think, if anything, I think what happens after WrestleMania is going to be absolutely fascinating. Because I think The Rock is going to start looking at Roman in a different light. Right now, he will acknowledge, maybe not quite correctly at first, but he will acknowledge, and he did say to Roman that he acknowledges him. And apparently, it was Roman that told The Rock to go over to Raw and actually beat up Cody, and The Rock did that. So at the moment, everything feels like The Rock is following the orders of his tribal chief. But what about when his tribal chief loses on the biggest stage we've ever seen? WrestleMania 40, arguably the biggest wrestling show of all time. I don't have a clue how many people are going to tune into this thing around the world. I mean, you know that India, Australia, Japan, Singapore, Europe, like everyone's going to be tuning into this. Like the viewing figures for this, I'd imagine, are going to be absolutely monstrous. WWE love to talk about how this social media wise does bigger numbers than the Super Bowl, right? This really is a massive event. So imagine the embarrassment that Roman is going to feel when he loses his title in the main event, and how does The Rock look at him after WrestleMania? So I don't think no Rock turn. I don't think any new members like Tama Tonga or Jacob Fatu or anyone, right? I'm not expecting anything like that. I think if there is to be a swerve, I think the swerve might be Seth. I think good chance that we get Stone Cold, good chance we get Randy Orton, good chance that we get Jey. They can deal with Rock, Solo, and Jimmy. I would love for Brandy to deal with Paul Heyman if needed, right? Or Dustin. if Dustin jumped over the barricades and just knocked Paul Heyman down, I would be fine with that. I'd absolutely love that. And then, like, maybe just cheer on, go on, Cody. I think it's very important that no one touches Roman, because really we don't want Roman losing and then blaming it on anyone, right? I think we clear the ringside area, we just get down to these two, they fight for like 5 minutes or so, back and forth, who's gonna win it? Cody emerges victorious, and at that point, just fireworks going off, everyone will be crying. He can hand the belt over to his mother, which is going to be the symbolic moment that we're all waiting for. I thought we could have the Dusty statue at the top of the ramp, and then he could go up and do what he said he wanted to do, and that would be to put the belt into his father's hands. His dad is no longer with us. The statue is, though, and could you imagine? He gives it to his mom. She, like, is crying and everything, like, congratulating him. He then takes it, goes up to the statue, which is at the top of the ramp, and it's been there throughout the whole match. It's not that we've just wheeled it out or anything. It's all part of his entrance. And he goes over and he puts it in the arms. I'm getting choked just saying it. Arms of the statue would be, oh my God. Oh my, there wouldn't be a dry eye in the house. So, yeah, lots to unpack there. Let's move on, shall we? And we've already spoke about this. So I think that Seth Drew is going to result in Seth losing the title. I think Drew has worked so hard, and he's in such a great place at the moment, that I think Drew winning is deserved. And I think this would be really, really cool. I think Drew always wanted to win in front of fans so that he could have that moment. And so we need to find a way of it not being a moment that the crowd cheer. We need to find a way of it being a moment that the crowd sort of boo, because I love the idea of him finally getting the moment he dreamed of, but the crowd not reacting the way he wants them to react. He wants to be cheered. So we've got to find a way of the crowd booing. I think he needs to cheat, or once he wins, he needs to beat Seth down. Hence why what I said earlier about Seth being injured and that being a possibility, because I think we really need to get the crowd booing. We need the crowd to not be pleased that Drew has won this, and then that can play into the narrative going forward. We know that CM Punk is on commentary, and I think for me, CM Punk being on commentary means that he's going to have to make a decision of, does he save Seth? Which I love that. I love the idea of him sat there not quite knowing what he needs to do. There's also the possibility that the ref could be injured and CM Punk jumps in and sort of counts the 3. So in a way, Drew wins the title, and it's CM Punk that had to count the 3, which is going to really stick in his throat. And then, of course, Seth, who hates CM Punk, is going to hate him even more now, because technically CM Punk was the one that counted and resulted in Seth losing his title. So I think Seth having his belt took away because CM Punk was the special guest ref is a very interesting thing. We could do that. I also think Drew beating up Seth and CM Punk having to figure out, what do I do? Do I help Seth? I don't like Seth. Do I help Seth? I think he would have to be honest. I don't think it'd be a good look if CM Punk just walked away. But I think these are the sorts of decisions that are going to have to be made in this match. And then the cherry on top, does Damian Priest cash in? Now, I'm going to say something a bit controversial here. Damian Priest has got the Money in the Bank briefcase. He can come running down to the ring. He can cash it in, right? And that means he gets the title match, whenever he wants. And obviously people wait for the champ to be vulnerable. I think that once the match is over, he'll come down, he'll try and cash in. He'll either successfully cash in but fail the match, right? So he'll lose his Money in the Bank, or he won't successfully cash it in. We've seen it loads of times where people come down and they say, I want the match, but then they get knocked over, and so the match never actually happens. That way they still keep the briefcase. I think one of them is happening with Damian Priest. I don't see Damian Priest leaving WrestleMania as a world champion. I don't see that, right? And the reason why I say that is because he just feels very cold at the moment. There's not much buzz around him. So if we was to do that, we'd be really taking a big chance on someone that just feels a bit cold. You know, he doesn't feel anywhere near as exciting an option as Drew. You know, Drew as champion, and with the promos he's been cut in, I mean, that just feels in a different neighborhood compared to where Damian Priest is right now. So I struggle to see him as a champion. So he will try. Of course he'll try. It's WrestleMania. He has to try. But he'll either fail or he won't be successful with his cash-in. Right, it is worth just mentioning, I don't know quite on what days these are taking place on because that has not been finalized yet. There's a couple that we know what days they're happening on. But either way, at the moment, we'll just kind of work through the card as is, right? So now we've got Jimmy and Jey. I think there's a chance that we see Rikishi in this. That's their dad. Certainly, I'm expecting him to be ringside. And I don't know if there'll be a decision he has to make. It'd be great if there was a whole throwing in the towel thing. You know, one of the Usos was just beating up the other so bad that actually Rikishi just throws in the towel on their behalf. Like, that would be fun. I don't think we're going to do anything like that, though. The book is, and even really myself, I think Jey wins this. Jey is a massive star. Like, he's one of the best merch sellers they've got, and he's also one of the most played characters on the game as well. And I don't know that we're going to do loads of matches between these two. This could be one and done. So I'm very torn on this. I think this is the hardest match to predict. I think it's the hardest match to predict because I actually think it would make more sense for Jimmy to win and then do a rematch and have Jey win. And then I don't know if you do a third match or if at that point they kind of, you know, join back up again. But if we're just doing one match, I'm thinking Jey gets it. But there is a very good chance Jimmy wins here and then we do a rematch at Backlash. There's a very, very good chance of that. So I am going to go with Jimmy. I just think this is a very predictable card. So I need to put in a curveball somewhere. So I'm going to go with this, right? I feel like this is the one that's so close. This is the one I feel most comfortable going against my gut feeling. My gut is telling me it's Jey. My gut's telling me it's Jey. But I'm going to go Jimmy. And I'm going to say they'll do a rematch at Backlash. And I'm willing to be wrong. Right, then we've got the Intercontinental Championship. I don't have any doubt about this. Gunther retains. Gunther's the champion. Longest reigning Intercontinental Champion of all time. Sami Zayn is one of my personal favourite wrestlers. I don't mind him winning this match, but I'm not desperate for it. And this is coming from a Sami Zayn fan, right? Sami should be around that World Heavyweight Championship. And I think later this year, he will be. I think there's a good chance that he wins Money in the Bank this year because it's in Canada. And there's a good chance that Sami will be in it. There's a good chance that Sami will win it. And I really like that. So I don't need him to be Intercontinental Champion. I don't need it. And a lot of people want Chad Gable to be the one. And I also wonder if Chad Gable might get an opportunity at the IC title like the Raw after WrestleMania. The Raw after WrestleMania tends to be a massive show. Surprises, call-ups, legends, OMG moments. Could we see Gunther's reign end on Raw, the Raw after WrestleMania? So I'm going to go with that. I'm going to say that Sami gives it his best, but he just falls short. Maybe there's a bit of cheating in there. I'm not sure. I think it could be a clean win for Gunther. I think if there was any match I was feeling good about being a 5-star match, it's probably this one. We know that Gunther delivers 5-star matches. We know that Sami can deliver 5-star matches. Sami is honestly one of the most, I think, underappreciated wrestlers in all of WWE. He has banging matches. He was part of a 5-star classic last year when it was the Usos versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. They main evented night 1. I believe Dave Meltzer gave that 5 stars. Do you know what else he gave 5 stars to last year? Gunther versus Sheamus versus Drew. Both of these coming off 5-star rated matches from last year, and now they go up against each other. It's got classic written all over it, but I think Gunther retains. Then we move on to this. This is the United States Championship match. Now, this for me is the story here is that Logan has created some enemies. There's people that don't like him. Billions, right? But 2 in particular, Randy and Kevin, they're going to be in this match. They're going to team together to try and bring Logan down. I think the early stages of this match will be that. I think Logan will be getting beaten up. And then it's going to get to the point where it's only Kevin and Randy left. And one of them's going to have to win. And then they're going to have to start fighting each other, right? This is going to allow Logan to just come in with the odd moments, right? Probably get beat up again and then go away again. Ultimately, I expect Brass Knuckles. I expect probably Jake Paul. I expect probably KSI. I expect probably some rapper friends or sports star friends or basketball friends, or God only knows. But I'm expecting outside interference, weapons, whatever it takes. Logan Paul retains. We don't need this title going on to Kevin or going on to Randy, so I think Logan retains. And I was trying to think, who is he going to pin? I think he pins Kevin. And the reason why I say that is because we've seen Logan Kevin. That's been done already. We haven't seen Randy Logan one-on-one. So I think if Logan pins Kevin, Randy can then say, well, you'd not beat me. You might have won the match, but you never beat me. And then maybe we go into a singles match, like next at Backlash or something like that. Logan versus Randy, 1-on-1. So, yeah, I'm feeling very good about Logan retaining. And the other thing as well is that we know that SummerSlam is going to be Cleveland, which is where Logan is from. So I feel like there's a good chance he goes in as United States champion into that event, or certainly goes in with something big lined up, because as we said, that is where he's from. SummerSlam, it's not that far away, so something to bear in mind as well. Right, next up, I couldn't find like a better graphic. Doesn't matter, we've got this. This is Bianca, it's Naomi, it's Jade Cargill taking on Dakota, Asuka, and Kairi Sane. Now, the women's tag titles are not on the line here. This is a 6-woman tag match. There's not a great deal to say to this. I think it'll be fun. I think that it'll be Jade that gets the pin. I think that the face team will win. I think that Dakota and Kairi and Asuka will lose, but I don't know which of them is going to be pinned. But I feel like Jade is this big star. They're really pushing. I think she helps her team get the win. Not sure who she pins, though. Could be Dakota, could be Kairi, could be Asuka. And then afterwards, I'm thinking Jade will be in a tag team. I could see Jade and Bianca against Kabuki Warriors at Backlash, or Jade and Naomi against Kabuki Warriors at Backlash. Jade is in that position at the moment where a singles match doesn't make sense for her, because a singles match might expose that she's a little limited at the moment, right? She never went through NXT. She has worked in AEW. She's had matches. They haven't been brilliant. And so I think WWE want her to improve. So it makes sense to just get her in the ring. Doesn't matter that it's a 6-woman tag. Doesn't matter that it's a Royal Rumble. Doesn't matter if it's a tag team match. Just get her in the ring. Let's work with her and improve her. And I think that's the plan. So I can't see a singles match. We might do the odd one on SmackDown, whatever, to see if we could keep improving. But I think throughout the summer, I think she'll probably be in a tag team, probably tag champs, I'd imagine. So yeah, I think she gets the pin. Not sure who her partner will be, but listen, Bianca Jade as tag champs over the summer. Sounds awesome. Then we've got this match. It was only made the other day. So we got Rey and Dragon Lee taking on Santos Escobar and Dirty Dominik Mysterio. So what I'll say about this match is I feel like it was chucked together a little bit. Like Dominik just sort of got back involved after being away from his dad for so long. We haven't seen Dominik and Rey kind of interacting for a long time. So, and in fact, Rey said, I thought I was done with you. I think for me, this is good that he's back though, because he needs to be on this kind of a platform. I think they really see him as a big future star. He's got that Mysterio name, so people are always going to be interested and intrigued, and he is pretty good in the ring, in all fairness. I think that I could see him winning this. I can see Dominik pinning Rey in this. I don't know where that's going to take us after this, but there is a bit of a buzz at the moment that Carlito is quite upset at the fact that Rey didn't choose him as his partner and he chose Dragon Lee instead. So because that's a bit of a talking point, I am wondering if Carlito might come down and actually turn on Rey, slap Rey, punch Rey, and then maybe Dominik can just secure the victory following that. I think we're going to get LWO. We're going to get Legado del Fantasma. I can't imagine it's just going to be the people you see on screen right now, right? I'd imagine it's going to be all those factions that get involved as well. But I'm feeling pretty good that the heels win. Maybe Carlito is the reason, and I think Dominik could be the one that benefits and secures a pin on his dad. Right, next, LA Knight against AJ Styles. I've got LA Knight winning this. There's not really much to this. The build has been okay. I liked when LA Knight went round AJ's house and they started brawling in the front garden. I thought that was excellent. So yeah, LA Knight, AJ Styles. I'm going to go with, as we said, LA Knight. I think he's a big star. He didn't make the WrestleMania card last year, and I think the fans really are going to get behind him. It's sort of now or never for LA Knight because he's getting on in age. I'm sure he's still got many years to give, but we can't really wait around. A lot of people thought this was going to be LA Knight against Logan for the United States Championship, and LA Knight would win that. But we haven't had that match. I think that match could come a little further down the road. I still think there's a good chance LA Knight is the person that gets that belt off Logan. We just haven't done it now. So if that is where we're going, then I'm thinking LA Knight needs the win. Should be a good match, though. You know, AJ Styles, fantastic wrestler. I think that these two guys will get time to do and tell the stories they want to tell. But I'm back in LA Knight on this one. Then we've got the tag match, and this gets a little bit complicated because there's 6 teams and there's 4 belts hanging above the ring. And basically, like, for some reason, we've got 2 Raw belts, we've got 2 SmackDown belts, there's 4 belts, and that, you know, all 4 mean that you are the undisputed tag team champions, right? Well, what happens if one team grabs the red belts, the Raw belts, and another team grabs the blue belts, the SmackDown belts, at the same time? What happens then? Because I think that's what's going to happen. There's long been rumors that we're going to separate these tag belts, right? And that they're going to be separated and we're going to have 2 champions, right? One set of champions on Raw, the other set of champions on SmackDown. And it feels like this would be how we're going to do it, right? At the same time, the belts are going to be retrieved. So the question is, who retrieves them? The current champs are Judgment Day. I don't think it'll be them. I think that Awesome Truth will be one of the teams. I think R-Truth and The Miz, they will be one of the teams. R-Truth is so over, so loved. He so deserves this moment. The fans are going to want to acknowledge him, right? They're going to want him to have that moment. So I think R-Truth is going to be rewarded, and I think that they'll get one set of belts. And then I was trying to think who would get the others for SmackDown, and so I'm thinking maybe Austin Theory and Grayson Waller, because they're two big promising future stars. They don't need to have the longest run in the world. And if we are going to tease a split between them a little further down the road, why not give them a run with the tag titles first and then have them lose the titles? And maybe when they lose the titles, maybe Austin Theory is the one that gets pinned when they lose them, and then Grayson gets upset, starts berating him, actually, like, you know, starts pushing him around, and then they come to blows. Maybe that's the story we're going to tell. Don't know. Hard to say, but I could see it making sense. So I'm going to go with that. I'm going to go with Awesome Truth are going to win one set of belts. I'm going to go with Austin Theory, Grayson Waller winning the other set of belts. Couple of matches left to go. We got the women's matches, and a lot of people are upset that these are not main event in night one, which I can understand. Bayley won the Rumble this year. Really, the winners of the Rumble should be main eventing. Women night one, guys night two. It's never been an official rule, but it's just the sort of agreed rule that the fans have all sort of agreed on. So people, I think, feel sorry for the women. There's a good chance that they both open each night. I know that Becky and Rhea want to open night one. I would imagine Bayley and Iyo wouldn't be against opening night two. The opening match is seen as a prestigious spot on the card, so if they can't close the night, you might as well open it. So yeah, we'll start with Iyo and Bayley. I've got to tell you, Bayley winning feels like the direction that we're going. There's going to be lots of outside interference. We know that Damage Control are obviously with Iyo. We know that Bianca and Naomi and Jade, they're with Bayley. Bianca, not so much. It would be interesting if Bianca is the one that sort of helps Bayley the most. You know, maybe she finds herself in a situation where she's like, she could either walk away or she could deal with a problem for Bayley. Perhaps Bayley has got two people on her and Bianca's got a decision to make, and because she's such a good person, she actually goes and she helps Bayley. That could be fun storytelling, because Bianca doesn't want anything to do with Bayley, but we know that if she is in a situation where she has to do the right thing, she'll do the right thing. So that could be something to keep an eye on. I think Bayley gets it. I don't feel as confident as the odds, though, and we'll look at the odds in a bit, because we do have the odds for a lot of these matches. They really believe that Bayley is winning this. I think she is. I'm just not as confident. But amazingly, this is Bayley's first singles match at WrestleMania. She's never had a singles match at WrestleMania before. So, wow, what a moment for her. Incredible. Incredible that she is getting her first singles match, considering how long she's been on the roster. And then we've got this one. So this is the only other announced match. We might get another match or two that get added to the card. A lot of people are looking at Final Testament against Bobby's group, but that has not been officially announced at this point. If we do, I really don't know which way that one would go, to be honest. So I'm quite pleased I don't have to predict that. But let's finish up with this one. We've got Becky, we got Rhea. This is for the Women's World Championship. And I think Rhea retains. I really do. I think Rhea retains. I think Rhea is one of the biggest stars they've got. She's a dominant champion. I think her reign has not been the most exciting because there's not loads of good names, good women for her to beat. So she's been going up against Nia Jax, Zoe Stark, names like that, which are good, they're fine, but they're not Becky Lynch. So I think Rhea could really do with a win here over Becky. I think this would give her reign a bit more credibility. And I think she will. I think she'll get the victory. So I've got Rhea getting the win in this match. So that brings us to the live odds. odds. So these are the betting odds. And let's work our way down. The bigger the minus number, the more of a favorite they are. So Roman and The Rock minus 500. Cody and Seth plus 300. So they are expecting Roman and The Rock to win. World Heavyweight Championship match, Drew minus 600. Seth plus 350. So they think Drew has got a better chance of winning than Roman and The Rock. But they do still think that Roman and Rock will win and that Drew will win, right? Undisputed Championship match, Cody, as we know, minus 700, right? It's pretty big. That's bigger than either of these. So Cody winning, pretty big. Drew winning, pretty big. Roman and Rock winning, pretty big. Nothing compared to Bayley, though. Look at Bayley, minus 1,250. They are just dead certain Bayley is winning that match, right? That's what the odds makers have got. Then we've got Rhea Ripley at minus 400. That's a bit closer. But still pretty healthy. So Rhea beating Becky. We've got Gunther at minus 500, which, you know, is pretty wide, but we've seen wider. But Gunther retaining, I feel good about that. LA Knight is minus 1,000. Absolutely huge. Kind of up there with Bayley. So LA Knight over AJ, that's pretty wide. Now we've got Jey Uso, Jimmy Uso, quite close, as I said earlier. Jey Uso minus 300, Jimmy Uso plus 200, quite close. Minus 300, nowhere near as wide as minus 1,000, minus 500, minus 400. In fact, I think it is the closest. Of all the ones we've looked at, I think it is the closest. So, yeah, I've gone with Jimmy because I think there must be a swerve somewhere. I'm thinking it might be there. But my gut is still saying Jay, to be honest. And then the only other one they've got is this, the United States Championship match. They've got Logan minus 500 favorite to win. Kevin Owens plus 900. So they're really not expecting Kevin. If anyone's winning it, they think it could be Randy. That would make sense, but it makes more sense Logan retaining. So there we go. In regards to, you know, what's Hogan going to do? What's Stone Cold going to do? What other legends could we see? Will we see any returns? We don't tend to get that sort of stuff, to be honest, returns. You might get the odd person that might pop back, but I really think they're going to save a lot for the Raw after WrestleMania. The kind of names we're thinking are Sheamus or Alexa Bliss or Carmella. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know that we're going to be seeing Big E or anything, although it would be brilliant if he did pop up during that tag team match. I think that'd be awesome if Big E just made an appearance, not to wrestle, but maybe just to come down and help his boys, you know, help his guys and get them all like fired back up again. That would be really cool. So Big E would be one I'd love to see. AJ Lee is someone that I would love to see. I don't think she'd get involved in a match, but she could certainly be involved in a moment. But apparently she's not interested in moments. She's more interested in coming back for like a proper return. But I would love to see AJ Lee. That would be another one that I would love to see. But in regards to like other legends, Stone Cold, I think there's a good chance he could get involved with The Rock. John Cena's expected somewhere on the card. Undertaker's expected somewhere on the card. We may see Triple H. We may see Shawn Michaels. We may see Kurt Angle. I mean, all of those names I'd imagine are on the table. Not expecting to see Brock or Vince, of course. But plenty of other legends that can pop up. And I'd imagine they might just be involved in the attendance announcement. Normally when we announce the attendance, that's when some fun stuff happens. You might remember last year, The Miz got thrown into a couple of spontaneous matches. Snoop Dogg made these matches out of nowhere, and that was during the attendance announcement. So it could be something along those lines. But listen, we could stay and talk for ages. I'm sure it's going to be an absolutely incredible show. Don't forget, we will be live. We do live streams. I want your thoughts, your theories, your questions, your feedback, your reactions. I want it all. We will be live hours before WrestleMania. We'll go straight through the kickoff show, all the way through the show itself. And we'll do a reaction video after both nights. So make sure that you join us for that. It's going to be a lot of fun. Thanks a lot for watching. Appreciate the support as always. I'll see you again next time. Bye for now.